and welcome to Your Vote Counts, a public service program for the Special District's May 18th election. This is being produced by Capital Community Media via remote technology in collaboration with the community groups of American University Women and League of Women Voters of Marion-Polk Counties and Salem City Club. For the Salem Keizer School Board election, all candidates were invited and all candidates accepted. Candidates were asked to prepare a 2-minute opening statement telling about themselves and their qualifications for the elected position. I'm Bernadine Anderson with the Organization of League of Women Voters of Marion-Polk County, and I would like to introduce to you today Maria Hinojos Pressey, running for school board, who will now begin her opening statement.
Thank you. It's great to be here. My name is Maria Hinojos Pressey, and I'm running for Salem Keizer School Board in Zone 7. I'm the mother of a beautiful bicultural daughter and the proud daughter of Mexican immigrants. I currently work as the operation director at BICUN, and I also currently serve on the board of directors for Chariots, Salem's transit company. I have a master's degree in sociology and have dedicated most of my adult life to serving working families through difficult times, both as my time as a domestic violence advocate and now currently in my role as operations director at BICUN, Oregon's Farm Worker Union. And I really appreciate the time to be here with all you.
Thank you for that information. We have questions today, and these questions were developed by the sponsoring groups, and the candidates did not receive them ahead of time. The League has prepared 7 questions, and each candidate will have 9 minutes in which to answer them. Not all questions need to be answered, but all the candidates will be given the same 9 minutes. This time includes the statement of the question and repeating if necessary. The individual candidates' questions are not timed. They can take what they need in those 9 minutes. So now let's give candidate Pressey an opportunity to address some of these questions and topics of concern to our community. And today our first question is, if elected, in what areas of the school board responsibilities are you particularly interested?
Honestly, I know this is very broad, all of them. I very much acknowledge that a lot of our issues are very intersectional, and I think it's important to try and address things more holistically. I believe it does our community a bit of a disservice to try and dedicate to one small area of the problem when there's a variety of factors to impact it. I know that definitely coming in to the school board, I would definitely want to focus on reopening our schools and ensuring safety in our schools. And I think those will be my top priorities and some of the areas that I'll be focusing on just from the get-go.
Thank you. One of the things that has been at the start of this election is about how to elect school board members. So what effect or effects do you think it will have to elect school board members by zone rather than at large?
Honestly, I think a bit more equitable representation. In my zone, I live in Northeast Salem, and I know that the needs in the community of Northeast Salem can be different than the needs in the community of South Salem. It's beautiful that we're able to represent the entire city, but I think this way we can also ensure that the people that we're saying we're representing actually have more power in electing the person that they want to represent them on the school board. I mean, that's how we do it with almost every other race. It just makes sense.
Okay. In several places in the district policy for the school board, it states that there needs to be regular opportunities for public feedback. How is this ensured, and what would you do differently, if anything?
I think one of the main things that I would like to be able to see more with our board is when we're asking for public feedback, is that we're also going out into the communities that we're asking to provide that feedback. Oftentimes it's really difficult for folks to be able to set the time to come to the school board meetings, or like be it to travel or be it because they have other responsibilities. And there are ways that we can try and mitigate that. But I think the number one thing is that we have, at the very minimum, the responsibility to be going out into the communities themselves to be able to properly hear what it is that they are concerned about, and in a space that they feel more comfortable in.
Another decision that was recently made is about testing. So what do you think about that decision to skip standardized testing this year?
I think it was the right decision. Our students have gone through a lot this year. I think more than a lot of us could even imagine. It's been a very traumatic year. And I don't think that our students needed the additional concerns of something like testing. I'm not a huge proponent of standardized testing. I definitely believe in that Einstein quote that if you measure a fish's intelligence by how good it can climb a tree, it will grow up its whole life thinking it's not very smart. And I think we need to be able to assess our students in different ways. And I think our educators are the people that have actually been, working with them during this whole time would be able to tell us a little bit better than a standardized test.
Okay. Looking at your quote, I think it fits this next question. What steps would you take to address the disparities in academic performance before the pandemic and now as we transition to in-school instruction?
Mm-hmm. I think the pandemic has really shown a big light on all the inequities that we have in our society, and definitely with where our students are falling through the cracks and where we're not fully reaching people. And I think this just goes back to my saying that we need to be able to reach out to the community. I mean, I have seen families through some of the worst times in their life, like being a domestic violence advocate. And I also understand that these students still need to come into our schools and we're expecting them to show up, but we're not supporting them in what's going on with their home lives. And our district is definitely in a good position to be able to create those supports by allocating funding to things like mental health, having more therapists and social workers in schools who can provide the resources to our families and our students that are struggling, that, it might just need that they need to make sure that they have a consistent breakfast and lunch every day to be able to show up to our schools. And those are the things that we need to be providing them.
With law enforcement, SRO contracts ended, how will the areas of concern that they addressed now be handled?
I think definitely goes back to my comment that we need to be allocating these resources to mental health support. I know that we have a program that is actually geared to be able to spot students that might be at risk for harming themselves or harming others. And we definitely need to be able to have the appropriate response. And a lot of that is often being able to support our students through mental health issues and through traumatic events in their lives. I have seen firsthand definitely the things that can happen. My mother used to be an educator. She was an educator my whole life. And she specifically worked with some of our special needs students. And yeah, sometimes she came home with bruises. And I don't think work should hurt. And I think that if we had sufficient support for example, my mother in that position, having additional support staff other than just her and the main teacher, we might be able to mitigate something like that happening again.
Our school budget has faced monetary issues due to many things like the pandemic, fires, houselessness, changes in technology. What do you propose for meeting these financial challenges?
Yeah, I currently actually at Bekun have been overseeing a disaster relief fund that has been able to support some of our families during these events. Of course, it's not, enough to make people whole, but we definitely need to be able to allocate resources to positions like that, to be able to support our families in the ways that they need. I mean, sometimes it's just, again, being able to make sure that their children are being properly fed. So we need to make sure that we're allocating budget money to ensuring there's free lunches to all of our students. There's a variety of things that we can do to support, and we definitely need to be listening to the community because they're going to be the ones that can tell us how we can best support them.
Okay, thank you for this input. Now we would like to invite candidate Hinojos Pressey to share her closing remarks. And please include your campaign information for our viewers.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. I'm actually pretty grateful for the time allotted that I'm very short with my statements. So I really appreciate this. Again, my name is Maria Hinojos Pressey. I'm the mother of a young daughter soon to enter our schools, and I hope to be able to make these schools the best place they can be for all of our students and for my own daughter. I have dedicated my life to supporting our working families, again, as a domestic violence advocate and as my role as operations director at Bekun, where I've been managing that fund to support our Latinx working families that have been left out of much needed assistance. This year has been a difficult time for us all. And as a working parent, I understand all too well what our families are currently facing. It's time for the representation to ensure our students and families are being heard. And that's why I'm asking for your support and your vote. And I hope to earn that vote. You can all learn more about me at my website, which is www.maria4oregon.com. And that's the number 4, Maria for Oregon. And you can also find me at all social media, Facebook and Instagram. Also at that same handle, Maria, the number 4, Oregon.
Thank you very much. So we extend our appreciation today for this interview with Maria Hinojos Pressey and for sharing her thoughts. We also want to thank Capital Community Media for the extensive efforts made to create this program. And thanks to you, the viewing audience, for watching and doing this in order to become an informed voter. Remember to vote by May 18th because your vote counts.